Today, there is big news for Spanish football fans. Lamine Yamal, the young star of FC Barcelona, has taken a major step in his recovery after a serious injury. Back in April, he suffered a muscle tear in his left hamstring, which kept him out of action for weeks. Barcelona's medical staff decided not to go for surgery, instead choosing a careful and conservative rehabilitation plan. That meant a long recovery process focused on safety and long-term fitness. Now, the exciting update. Lamine Yamal is back on the pitch. He has not yet returned to full team training yet, but he has started individual field sessions again. This includes light running, ball work, and controlled exercises at Barcelona's training ground. For Barcelona fans, this is a very positive sign. But the news is also important for Spain's national team. Head coach Luis de la Fuente is still keeping Yamal in his long-term plans. If he fully recovers in time, he could play a key role for Spain national football team at the FIFA World Cup 2026 in North America. The Spain coach has already shown in the past that he is willing to trust injured players if they recover in time, using examples from previous tournaments where key players made a huge impact despite fitness doubts. For now, Yamal will miss the final part of Barcelona's season, but his return to grass training is a strong and encouraging sign for both club and country. The big question now is, will Lamine Yamal be fully fit and ready for the 2026 World Cup? One thing is clear, his journey back to the top has officially begun.
Chelsea's Champions League hopes are not completely over, but they are hanging by a thread. Chelsea FC have suffered a huge setback after a 3-0 defeat to Nottingham Forest in the UEFA Premier League table. With only 3 games left in the season, they are now officially out of the top 5 race through normal league qualification. But surprisingly, there is still a very complicated and unlikely path to the UEFA Champions League. Chelsea must first finish in 6th place in the Premier League. Even that alone is not enough. They also need help from other results in Europe under UEFA's European Performance Spot system. The key factor depends on Aston Villa. If Aston Villa win the Europa League and also finish inside the Premier League top 5, their Champions League spot from winning the competition would be passed down the league table, potentially to the team finishing 6th. However, Villa still have a tough path. They must overturn a first-leg deficit against Nottingham Forest in the Europa League semi-final, and then potentially win the final against strong European opposition. Meanwhile, Chelsea still have work to do themselves. They are currently 4 points behind 6th place, with teams like Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton, and others all ahead or close behind. That means every remaining match is now crucial. Interim manager Kylian Mbappé has made it clear that the team is not focused on calculations or scenarios. Instead, he insists the squad must focus on improving performances and winning every remaining game. Chelsea's final fixtures include tough matches against Liverpool, Tottenham, and Sunderland, and they also have an FA Cup final against Manchester City. So the situation is simple but brutal. Chelsea must win everything, and hope Aston Villa do them a massive favor in Europe. Only then can their unlikely Champions League dream stay alive.
There has been major debate in Spain surrounding Kylian Mbappé and his recovery period at Real Madrid CF. The French superstar has been dealing with a muscle injury, picked up during a 1-1 draw against Real Betis. Medical reports confirmed a lesion in the hamstring muscle of his left leg, forcing him out of action at a crucial stage of the season. However, controversy started when Mbappe was spotted taking a trip to Sardinia during his recovery period. The timing of the trip, which came while Real Madrid were still competing in important matches, sparked criticism in Spain and raised questions about his professionalism. Some critics suggested that his focus was not fully on recovery, especially with an upcoming key clash against Barcelona. But now, Mbappe's camp has responded strongly.
His representatives told AFP that the criticism is an overinterpretation of his recovery process. They insisted that his rehabilitation is strictly controlled by the club and that the public narrative does not reflect his daily commitment and work ethic. Real Madrid coach Álvaro Arbeloa also defended the striker. He made it clear that players are free to manage their personal time, saying that Real Madrid was built on hard work, sacrifice, and players who give everything on the pitch, not on outside appearances. Meanwhile, Mbappe continues his recovery with individual training sessions, even on rest days, as he pushes to return to full fitness. His absence has forced Real Madrid to rely heavily on Vinicius Jr., who has stepped up with key goals in recent matches. Now, all eyes are on whether Mbappe will be fit in time for the massive La Liga showdown against FC Barcelona at Camp Nou. That match could decide the title race and Real Madrid's season. For now, the debate continues. Is Mbappe fully focused on recovery, or is the criticism being blown out of proportion?
There is growing concern around Estevao Willian and his chances of playing at the upcoming FIFA World Cup as the young star continues his recovery from injury. The 19-year-old winger, who plays for Chelsea FC, suffered a hamstring injury on April 18 during a match against Manchester United. Since then, he has been ruled out of action and is now in a race against time to return to full fitness. In a key development, Estevao has returned to Brazil to continue his rehabilitation at the facilities of his former club, SE Palmeiras in Sao Paulo. This move allows him to recover in a familiar environment, surrounded by people he trusts. However, Chelsea are still fully involved in his recovery process. The club has reportedly sent medical staff to Brazil to closely monitor his rehabilitation and ensure that every step follows their official recovery plan. Despite the change of location, Chelsea remain in full control of his treatment program. The situation is critical because Estevao was expected to be part of Brazil's squad for the World Cup in North America. Before his injury, he was seen as one of the rising stars of the national team and a strong candidate for selection. Brazil head coach Carlo Ancelotti had been closely following his progress and had even praised his impact after his senior debut for the national team in 2024, where he has already scored multiple goals in limited appearances. Now, everything depends on his recovery timeline. Brazil are set to begin their World Cup campaign on June 13th against Morocco, followed by group matches against Scotland and Haiti. But with the injury setback, Estevao's participation is now in serious doubt. At club level, his absence has also been felt at Chelsea. Since joining from Palmeiras, he has shown huge potential, scoring 8 goals in his debut season and becoming an important attacking option for the team. However, his current focus is not on goals or matches, but on recovery. Medical teams from both Chelsea and Palmeiras are working together to avoid any long-term damage and to give him the best possible chance of returning to football as soon as possible. The next few weeks will be